رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقهوا قولي. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. نحمده ونصلي على رسوله الكريم. أما بعد فأعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. It is a descriptive video about Corona, that what Corona is, and the relationship of Corona with the religions. So it is an interesting video. You can get benefit if you know about Corona. The corona is a million years ago thing. All the older and experienced people and even the nations since past eras are very aware of it. In my opinion, it is not a disease epidemic, but rather a shifting and progressing tool to the world. When the corona time comes, it makes changes in the countries and in the people. And also we see that it suffer people too. And so many people have died. The victim of corona may experience that their mind is running fast, and that is causing high thinking, and they may discover new things and come to know new realities. So sometimes it creates a fast brain running behavior or conduct. That means if you think about something, then your brain adds some knowledge or made up some additional information to it because brain is running fast. But unfortunately, this new information or additional information that comes to your mind are not correct or partially correct. You may assume it are realities, but not all the information is correct. All during corona times, if a person come across to it, then it may or may not affect the nervous system and the nasal system, and we saw people has difficulty breathing because it is observed that if you have a strong nervous system, this corona things cannot grab you. What I observed that this corona thing is a transparent fabric-like thing, airborne or flying in the air. If it contacts to the head of a person, and then it start grabbing the head so tightly. But if the person is strong and then have a strong immune system, it cannot harm that person. And therefore we see that the older people are usually the victims. And if the person who has been contacted with corona doesn't have the stronger immune system, then it grabs the head and try to enter into your brain with your nose, ears, or throat, so mouth, or people have runny nose, or cough, or headache, or fever-like symptoms when this corona thing attacks. And it is starting to overcome the nervous system with tightened force because it wrap around the head and is stretching tight like a rubber band. So maybe sometimes people feel headaches. It is a creature-like thing and look like it tries to capture the nervous system and try to put down your courageousness and to overcome you, your valor, and what the Christians say, the spirit. So it tries to conquer the spirit inside you. A very good example of it is if you have watched the Spider-Man movie, that a black venom grabbed the Spider-Man and the Spider-Man behaving like a weird person. And when he find out that this black venom is allergic to a bell sound, a big bell sound, and when a high bell sound echoed, then this venom creature leaves his body and get into another person's body. This is all true about corona creature, that it may leave one person and move to another some other person. I've already told you that the senior people and the experienced people have already know about it. I saw the people who know about it check and steer the person's eyes to find out if the person has a corona or not. Not only the people, but all the countries and corporations surely know about it. But why they don't want to tell to the people publicly about it, or they cannot explain it, or couldn't find a suitable logic to explain about it, I'm not sure. But we see that they inform indirectly through movies, songs, books, etc. There are so many storybooks, comic books, movies, TV serials, and so many stuff have already been made about it. It exists from millions of years ago. I think it is not an infection thing, but this thing sometimes leaves a person and grab another person, as you can see in the Spider-Man movie. Also in the movie, it is shown that it can be destroyed to burn it, or continuously heat may finish it. So we see that when summer comes, the corona wave vanished. It comes from the plants at the time of starting of the spring, but it is not sure from where it comes. This corona has a very long history. One of the interesting thing of this corona thing that it builds your routines or set your routines, and it is experienced in so many people that it is very effectively implementing their daily routines, monthly routines or yearly routines. And that's why so many people are sometimes scared about it. For example, if you're waking up at 7 a.m. and getting into your office at 8:30, doing the routines at your office, like having a tea or coffee at 11, and then come from your office and taking dinner and watch TV and sleep, and then you can observe that this routine may set up for a long time, and people do the same things repetitively. So I observe that this thing is a very helpful to men and women to set their routines. If you ask me how, then I'm not aware of it yet. It looks funny too, but I understand how it happens with Quran. It may possibly keep setting things for so many years, like if you go to vacation this year, then for so many years you go to vacations at the specific times, like in December or January. Repetitiveness is the characteristic of Corona sometimes. So if you do something this Monday, then you will do the same thing next Monday. Events happen in a cycle. It it even doesn't set the routine of a person, but also set the routines and culture of the whole community or nation. Sometimes communities have different style of weddings. Some has different styles of food. Some has traditionally used seafood. Some has pizza. So it set the things to the communities. I've already told you that this Corona thing has a long history. So you can find Corona watches in the market, which describes that you do the same thing again and again in a cycle at a specific hour every day. You can see the Corona drinks because this thing runs your brain fast. So you think high and find out and discover the secrets of nature very much. You may learn new realities, but keep in mind that not all the things comes to your mind are correct. But as your mind runs very fast and so many things comes to your mind, and you may understand everything is right. In daily life, it may comes to your mind that some specific person is doing something against you, or some groups are doing something against you. These type of thoughts may come to your mind, but I've already told you it may or may not correct. So you have to filter out what info is correct and what is just a deflection. Also, if your mind runs so fast and you are unable to control it, then it has also negative effects to your body. So my advice is if someone has experienced that corona thing is running your mind, then cool and chill out and ignore and disregard the negative thoughts and think about the good things. So people take drinks and so many alternatives, like most popular is tea, coffee, cigarette, cigars, and desi people use pan, gutka just to avoid this running of mind. And we see so many products in the market like Corona drinks, beers, refreshers, chewing gums, etc. Also, I told you about the Corona watches. That is a symbol that things will continuously happen always, which looks some funny, but at the same time scary to some people when any unfavorable thing has happened. The people reaction to this corona is very different and depends on what type of person you are and what personality you have. And it also depends on your family and friends and co-workers relation that if they are helping you to fight this mind condition thing corona. I heard from people that a person at a moment have some hard drink, a coffee or tea, and at the second moment they take a cold drink or some cold beverage, or some cigarette because they feel they can overcome or defeat that corona thing, while at the same time corona is trying to overcome that person. But if you are strong enough and have a strong nervous system, then it may not be able to affect you. In previous years, people used to drink tea and maybe the coffee to lessen the effects of corona. They may also use the tea and coffee to be well awake because this corona thing may make them dizzy sometime, and so it may be the basis of the invention of tea and coffee. The most important resultant of this corona thing is the religious thoughts that comes to your mind. And in my opinion, that this corona thing has generated so many religions and religious personalities and religious leaders. Maybe the initial one is the people who worship the fire, Og. Maybe when they observed that this corona thing has gone with fire, then they started worshipping the fire. Some were people who worship the sun because we observed that when the summer comes, then the strength of corona become lessened or broken. The Hindus are a big example because you see, Gandhi shaved his head due to grabbing of the corona. And we see so many people keep their head shaved due to this corona thing because they may think that it will lessen the burden or speed of the brain. You may read the so popular quotes of Mr. Gandhi that are very attractive and beneficial to the humanity and specifically to Hindu community are the outcomes of corona. But we see so few people follow those good quotes of Gandhi. The Hindus greet from a far distance while joining their hands, and it looks like they are asking forgiveness and saying to the corona thing that please don't come to me. I am submitting to you. Christians have St. Paul. When he got the corona thing, then he altered the Christianity, and his mind created the concept of Trinity, that one is God, one is Jesus, and one is corona, which is the spirit, and that corona has overcome your spirits. Buddhism and Judaism and the atheists are all the products of corona. There are sects in Islam and other religions that are victims of corona, like Shiism, Qadiani, Ismaili, Bohra, etc. Like so many Chinese people we see are wearing masks for so many years and so long because they think that this corona thing as infections are contagious. Because when you think good during corona, that then creative thought comes to your mind, and you think that if these things are set, it is very beneficial to humanity, and if it is implemented in the society, then it will be all set and everyone become happy. The only religion is Islam that protects you with this corona thing because it tells you to believe in one Allah, believe on the day of judgment, and believe there is no prophet after Muhammad and there is no new teachings after Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. These are the main three teachings in Quran that can be the cure to the corona. Because when so many things, so many thoughts come to your mind, then these basic rules set a limit for you not to think beyond the limits. If you believe in one God, then no corona or any deflection can shatter your focus. And to believe on the day of judgment, it says people to do bad things or wrong things. That means you are not harmful to the people. Because it may observe that when people realize that they are under corona effect, then they sometimes do weird things or big sins or to get rid of the corona effect. It looks that their mind tell them that if you do bad things, then you can get rid of this corona thing or this corona creature. And it remains away from you, otherwise it will grab you. They might think it is some religious attempt to turn them to the religion and noble and righteousness, and they started to do odd things or sin to be safe from it. In present days, we see so many people, victims of corona, are indulged in bad things and think that they are safe from it, and so they have cool state of mind. But basically, corona put them in a loop to do bad things. Believing in Muhammad Sallallahu is the last messenger saves people to believe on any deceiving person, like so-called themselves as imams, gurus, and deceived spiritual leaders like personalities. It saves you from the groups or personalities who may want to get advantage of Corona effect. Sometimes people under Corona effect declare or consider themselves as Messiah and the Savior and start preaching their ideas comes from the Corona effect to the people. Because I've already mentioned the examples of the people who created their own version of religion. I can mention St. Paul in Christianity, who invented the Trinity with Corona, and Shia sects of Muslims, believing on the books that are written under Corona effect. Now the Shia Muslims' beliefs are totally based on those books, and that's why they swear and say abusive language to the close companions of Muhammad Sallallahu Sahabas, because they found a book that has those details that created that beliefs. Because I told you that under Corona, it may be possible you see something different and interpret it some different. Some of the Sunnis Muslims, when in Corona effect, changed a few basic concepts in Islam. Because due to Corona running brains, they are being deflected. When they're deflected, they couldn't find reasoning of Islamic beliefs. And they come to a point that we believe on the Quran and not all the ahadith. They believe on those they believe on those ahadith that are matching to their reason. But if you have Iman, faith, and Yaqeen, then you will find the true reasoning in all ahadith. You see how it affects to the nations and groups and turn them to Taliban or ISIS or Christian missionaries. These are the examples of the products of Corona. Then you have already saw that how US openly bombed these Corona affected Taliban and ISIS and killed them and vanished them with bombing, because US fully understand that this is a Corona effect very well. You see how China turned the Muslims in China to non-Muslims. They arrested the Muslims and cut their beards and demolished the mosque, because China also understand that all it happened due to Corona wave that changed the Chinese to Muslims. They have used full force and brutality and show no mercy to those Chinese Muslims, because they understand it is the role of Corona. The Corona is like a wave, and it turns so many people to a new platform or new transformations. If the new platform is favorable to the governments, then the government supports it, and otherwise they take hard actions and measures to destroy the Corona effect. Sometimes the Corona effect is like Michael Jackson. Everybody in the world were listening to Michael Jackson. It was a Corona wave that turns all the people to listen to music. Sometimes it brings new fashions and basically how the world is progressing. We have seen Corona times when everybody buying computers, cell phones, cars, doing shopping in the malls, and now this time is lockdown. All these are the outcomes of the Corona wave. So, what should be the right path to follow during the Corona wave? The right path is the middle path. The path Islam has mentioned, that choose the middle path. No extremes, not so religious or hardcore like Taliban or ISIS or Christian missionaries. I can mention David Wood, one of the Christian speaker and debater. His Corona effect tell him, if I can insult Jesus, then why cannot I insult Jesus? Why can I not insult Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam? His whole mission of life is insulting Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, and he is still not clear or filled up with his mission against Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. If I awake every morning and curse and swear uh, his wife or his kids or his parents and make new videos just because I am free to say anything and use the right of freedom of speech, then what does he feel? He doesn't know that what he is doing is not freedom of speech. In Islam, your faith and iman never completes until when Muhammad SAW is top in place in your heart, that is above than your parents, above to your family, and above all. David Wood is cursing and abusing Muhammad SAW in the name of free speech. I'm sure it is not free speech, it is a hate crime that he is doing under his corona effect. Quran says, Edin Strat al Mustaqim, show me the right path. Ask God to show you the right path. In a video, David would ask that your Allah said, if the people start doing good, then I shall vanish the nation and bring into existence another nation who do sins. Doesn't he saw Taliban? Doesn't he saw ISIS? That people did everything good and accurate, but they are destroyed. Allah destroyed them or worldly superpower destroyed them, we don't know. Allah knows all. But in my opinion, Allah is saying that if all the people comes under the corona effect and do good without any intentions, consciously and knowingly, then Allah is saying about those nations to destroy them and bring the new nations. We see a lot of movies about corona, like zombies, like Spider-Man, like one movie about that a wind comes that kills the people. That a wind, when run, the people get killed. Venoms go inside human bodies. These are all corona concept. Because I told you that corona thing is a transparent fabric like thing in the atmosphere, and as it is heavy, so if there is no wind, then it is landed to the ground like a transparent water patches under your feet. Similarly, when there is no wind, it comes to the ground, and when wind comes, then it flies into air. Maybe the high intensive microscope can see it, but it is all my understanding, what I observe, so it may or may not correct. I am sharing it what I think about it. In Islam, so many people ask why it is a sunnah to put up your pants or shalwas above your ankle. It is also against proud and also a reasoning to save yourself from the corona thing to come to you by your dress and grab you. Sometimes when you walk into your water, you pull up your pants so that it doesn't get wet. It is similar like that. So it's a protection. We have discussed that choose the middle path, not aggressively and not extraordinary thinkers or scholars style. We see there are two places where people are held. One is the jails, and where they held the criminals are aggressive and furious people, and the people and the other thing where people get mad. And so Quran says, don't be like that. Quran says, choose the right path of those people who are rewarded, of those whom Allah not whom for whom is Allah is angry with, the agnostics who do sins and crimes openly, and the people who get astray, like thinkers and scholars in wrong directions and try to invent new concepts in religion. And after some time, it become a new sect of the religion. We see that some of the people deliberately do sins to avoid growth. They think that doing crimes and corruption, they can show they are having self-control and not under corona effect. That interpretation is incorrect. Allah doesn't say if some people are doing good, offering prayers, fasting, and doing zakat, and you understand they are very quiet and soft and follow the right Islam, then Allah shall destroy them or the nation that bring up a new nation. These people definitely get rewards on the day of judgment. But if people are knowingly doing crimes, corruption, bribe, uh, kickbacks and commissions, black money, that Allah doesn't say that are right, that Allah doesn't say they are right. They are also corona affected people, but they are in a loop of doing bad things, and they are truly hellfire people. You have to remain good and offer your prayers and fastings and keep yourself away from the bad. In Pakistan, there is a lot of corruption, fraud, and dishonesty on the government level. It is crown of crimes. Countries like China, Korea, Sweden, Denmark, Norway, they are under good crown, but they don't have belief on God. Although they sometimes look like robots and busy in their worldly matters. That's how so many people would go to hell if they couldn't be told about the God, Allah, and the light of Islam. The developed countries are fully aware of this corona thing, and some are become expert to handle it. Rather, I'm sure they get the level of expertise to generate and initiate the corona epidemic, like China and US this time, and other governments seems to be misusing their expertise of corona against their own people. The remedy to avoid corona is active and confident. Keep yourself stay inside if there is a high intensity of corona wave. Don't be fearful if you think some creature like thing has grabbed you. I see some people start taking so much water and liquid that may or may not be helpful. I don't know. But tea and coffee make you active and may be helpful and support to your immune system against corona. I think historically the tea and coffee is invented due to the very reason and generate resistance against this corona thing. The main thing is to take the middle path, not so much water, not so much tea or coffee. If you feel something is grabbing your head, then start grabbing that thing. Because this corona thing is very coward creature. And when it feels you're grabbing him, then it loses its strength. Don't leave yourself into its control and be brave and start grabbing it. I have seen kids are saying, don't be fearful with corona and fight with it. And it is very true. One of the prominent and renowned mufti have said that the corona wave or other epidemics are lift up or vanished when the Surya star will appear on or seen on 12th May 2020. We pray to Allah and hope that this high wave of this corona epidemic will be finished. At that time, we will start living with the usual corona. Pray Allah to guide to the right path, the middle path, and avoid the extremes of being stubborn and disobedient and crimeful, and also from being astray and misguided. Yesterday, I saw a video from David Wood where he was shown that Muhammad SAW said to someone, "If I would alive up to the some time, then his crawling baby would become elder, then I will marry her." He then asked Muslims, "Let's see how your prophet is saying about a crawling baby." He doesn't know the context and just deceiving the Muslims about his fallacious plans. If someone asked Muhammad SAW to marry her baby when she get older, and Muhammad SAW saying, okay, he will marry if he wouldn't be alive, if he would be alive at that up till that time, then he will marry her. Many people at that time want to be relative to Muhammad SAW and offer their daughters to Muhammad SAW to get honored and near to the last messenger, and so they can near to Allah. Hazrat Hassan salam, the grandson of Muhammad sallam, has got nearly 100 marriages because people offered Hazrat Hassan salam, to marry their daughters so that they become relative to Muhammad sallam family. Although his father, Hazrat Ali salam, Sher Khuda, told people not to do this, but people kept doing it to be honored. David Wood may know it. David Wood may know it, but doing false propaganda. In Quran, Allah said the Christians and the Jews, the people of the books, do know Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam like they know their own sons, but don't accept it. Allah said in Surah Kafirun, these Christians and Jews people never bring Iman, and to them is their religion, and to us is our religion. In Quran, Allah make it so clear to them that on the day of judgment, Allah has shown them the picture of the judgment day. That when Allah asked to Hazrat Isa, Jesus, that don't you have told them that you are the son of the God? Then Hazrat Isa would reply that he never tell them, but this what they have done it after me, and I don't know. Now, if you want to forgive him, it's on you, Allah. There is one more thing as proved here that nobody other than Muhammad SAW will be able to recommendation and intercession, shifat, to their people on the day of the judgment. You see that it looks like that Hazrat Isa want to say Allah to forgive those people, but he didn't ask him and say to Allah, if you want to forgive these people, it's on you. It proves that nobody other than Muhammad Sallallahu will be permitted to shifa to his ummah people on the day of judgment. You see, if Hazrat Isa will not be permitted to recommendation intercession, then the people who believe on Hazrat Ali, or the people who believe on Data Sahab, or the people who believe on Prince Karim Aga Khan, or the people who believe in Daudi Bora, like so many sects and leaders. So how they can have expectations that their spiritual leaders would make a recommendation or intercession for them? The zikr and discussion of Hazrat Ali is ibadat, a prayer, because Muhammad Sallallahu said it. But you get sawab deeds of it when you discuss about Hazrat Ali in this world. But on the day of judgment, it is only Muhammad Sallallahu who will have the right to shifa. So many people love Hazrat Ali more than Shias. I can say about myself that I love Hazrat Ali too much. I love to Hazrat Isa too much. Jesus too much. I love to all the Awliya Allah, and these all people have so much respected and admiration to me. But the highest place in my heart is to Muhammad Sallallahu, and the belief that only He can shifa to me and to my parents on the day of judgment. Inshallah. There is very thin line between haq and baat. At the times of corona, you have to filter out what is right and what is wrong. That should be the your line of action during corona times. If you set the limits that I have told you, that Allah is one, belief on the day of judgment, and belief on the Muhammad is the last messenger of Allah, then you can never be deflected. So only the Islam can help you to fight the corona. Filter out what is good and what is bad. It is the target during Quran. If sometime is telling you new logics in Islam and keep away from them, then keep away from them. Think good about people, help to your community if you can. If something comes to your mind, then verify it and then deal with it fairly. Some people try to take undue benefits to fool people or do frauds or scams during these times. Some try to fool religiously to dissemble your belief, and some financially to snatch your money from you. So you should be careful. Like David Wood, who is active and throwing false stories and statements about Muhammad Sallallahu using YouTube to disturb your beliefs. So people like this become active during this season. Similarly, scams and frauds are initiated to snatch money from general public. So be aware of it too and be cautious. Some people who are overconfident and know about it, this corona, then they take it lightly and enjoy the situations and see if some people may be in disturbing condition due to this wave. This is very wrong. That is very wrong. Because if you believe in the day of judgment, you have to be accountable of your actions. If you want to help others of your nearest and dearest, then you can tell them the right concept in Islam, but don't try to impose it on others. Allah said that it's me who help people to guide to the right path. And if you are able to help the right deserving people around you financially, then it will be the best sadaqah. So if you are not doing bad things, not an aggressor, and understanding your good and your bad is the best way to defeat crime. So be peaceful, be careful, be safe, be healthy, and be helpful to your around people. Thank you.